We are check one, two, check one, two. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Another live show on a Monday afternoon, guys. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for always showing love. We are finally live, and it's good to talk some MMA with the best community on YouTube. Let's have some fun, guys. 267-545-8096 if you want to share your thoughts on UFC Fight Night this past Saturday and all the aftermath. We saw Moicano, as you guys see the title. He stole the show, in a sense. Whether we got some UFC 300 update is another topic of discussion, and whether we want to see Moicano climb up the ranks or Imavov after his win as well too. All that and more, guys. Let's talk about it. First, I would want to bring up, of course, we got the screenshot. Moicano, one of his posts that he made quickly after UFC Fight Night, he puts this on his Twitter and he writes, "There's your UFC 300 main event, ladies and gentlemen. Moicano versus Paddy." Because first he said, "I want to see Drew Dober fight Paddy Pimblett next. Let's see how that goes." But ironically enough, Paddy says, "Why would I fight Dober when I could smoke you much easier?" Now, although I would say this doesn't save the card, I would argue it doesn't, not even close. Although it doesn't save the card, it would help it, right? And it appears they only want to add one more fight to that UFC 300. I have no idea what it might be. I don't know why I have a funny feeling that it could be Adesanya as far as stepping in. I'm not sure. Nonetheless, this on UFC 300 will be nice. Imagine this in the prelims or the first fight on the main event, even though it already appears stacked. I don't know. I guess we'll see. And we want to see a true test for Paddy Pimblett as well, too. Why not kind of X out whoever is not worthy of being at the top of the rankings, whether that's Paddy or whether that's Moicano. So we'll see how that plays out. But also as well, too, another thing I wanted to bring up, now that Moicano won, although the fight wasn't that interesting, I guess you could say, for the most part, right? Rounds 1 and 3 where Moicano kind of just laid and prayed, you would call it. And one kind of a boring decision. It was his post-fight interview that kind of garnered him attention, and he was smart on how he carried himself. But I wanted to look through the lightweight division and kind of really wonder. I don't know what's playing in the background right now. Was something playing on this whole second? Oh, I think we have a call. So I'm gonna let the voicemail play in a second. So feel free to leave a voicemail in a second. I see a 201 numbers calling me. I'll get to that in a bit. Oh, I'm not supposed to share that as well. I'm just messing it all up today. But I want to go back to the rankings and talk about Renato Moicano on, although he's good behind the mic, does he have a genuine chance to beat anybody in the top 15? We'd love to hear your thoughts, but let's look at who's above him. RDA, Benoit, Dan Hooker, Jalen Turner. Paddy, maybe that's a good way to introduce him to the top 15 if he gets the Moicano fight. But he fought RDA on a short notice, and he spoke about that as well, speaking of Moicano. So who do we really want him to fight next? If it's not Paddy, right, where I wouldn't mind that at all, and preferably if they could put that for UFC 300. I like the Dan Hooker fight a lot for Moicano, because I think it'll be a decent back and forth. Whether Dan Hooker could stop the takedowns is another question. But Dan Hooker, surprisingly, if you guys are not aware, he's on a little 2-fight win streak right now, and a 3-fight win streak, and that being against Moicano will doing wonders as well too. That Jalen Turner fight, where I thought Jalen was gonna have a chance to maybe stop Hooker early, it was Dan Hooker who almost stopped him late in the fight. Dan Hooker gets the job done. He has 2. Remember, he beat Puelles and now he beat Turner. Moicano versus Hooker is a good one that I would say. So that's one of them. My other 2, I guess, since he just beat Dober, it'll be interesting to see who you match him up against. A Bobby Green would be crazy. I like the Paddy fight as well too, but I want to talk even more so, does he genuinely have a chance now that he's number 13? Maybe he moves up 1 or 2 more. I doubt it. I don't think he's going to go up BSD, but I do believe he has a good shot against Hooker. That Jalen Turner fight stylistically with the range of Jalen Turner is a tough one for Moicano. But even looking further, can he find himself in the top 8? I don't see him beating a Fazeev. Maybe a Dariush because Dariush chin might be compromised, but I wouldn't even feel comfortable even then picking him against a Dariush. There's Gamrot, there's Chandler, Saryuki, and Poirier. I mean, that lightweight division with Islam Makhachev holding the title, it's tough. It's tough because I don't know. I don't know what his ceiling is, but it's tough in a division where there's killers like Makhachev, Poirier, Gaethje. It's gonna be tough for Moicano. But let's play the first voicemail that we have tonight. 267-545-8096. If you want to share your thoughts, let me also leave that on the screen as well too. But let's get right to it. Let me make sure the volume levels are all good. And yeah, I think we're good. And let's get right to it. Here we go. Voicemail number 1 for the afternoon podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is the People's Champ, Chris Faith, reporting to Miller, D.C., and everybody else. Let me just say,
Chris Faith in the building. Not only the self-proclaimed, people gave him the name People's Champ. So here we go.
I want to apologize for not coming into the drama show of last Monday. I had a family business to take care of.
All good, bro.
But
all
I will
good.
be there later tonight. But reason I want to say is that I overheard you, Bill DC, talking about Ilia Topuria. Not gonna talk smack. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk smack and everything. I just want to say I know
You can always feel free to debate and share your thoughts and shoot from the hip. You don't have to feel worried about that at all, man. We could have a good back and forth and still be cool at the end of the day.
Like, he is one of those fighters that should not be calling out Conor McGregor. I agree with that. I'm not.
Right. That was one of the latest videos.
I'm getting sick and tired of every UFC fighter calling out Conor McGregor. It's like Oprah Winfrey back in the day. Oh, you get a house, you get a house, you get a house.
Yeah, every fighter that's in the vicinity of 155 to like 185, they want to call out Conor McGregor, and it's like, listen, this guy has been removed for quite some time. His last win was what, 2016? Like, just give it up. Look at other people in your division. Ilia Topuria hasn't even gotten the title. Alex Volkanovski is at 145. He has the title. Although I'm picking Topuria, and I said this before, I don't know if he gets past Volkanovski. That's a tough one. So for all these fighters to call out Conor McGregor as frequent as they do is just get past your current fight first. Then we can cross that bridge when we get there.
Everybody say, I want to fight Conor McGregor. No, I want to fight Conor McGregor. I got a message to every single current UFC fighter. Shut the hell up. If you're in the rankings fighting whoever behind you or above you, fight that person, not Conor McGregor. Stop pretending that Conor McGregor is your girlfriend to every single UFC fighter, especially guys like Ilia Topuria.
Chris is the bad guy.
You need me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers.
Listen, not quite often where we always feel this way, Chris, but I agree with everything you said. 267-545-8096. If you want to share your thoughts on Moicano, whether he's the future of the lightweight division, what's his ceiling, you guys let me know. Feel free to call in and share your thoughts. I'll play your voicemail live on stream. But yes, back to what Chris said. Speaking of Topuria and calling out Conor McGregor, listen, we gotta give this up. McGregor is removed. He's probably gonna fight Chandler next. We don't even know if he fights after that or the version that he has. And I understand it's red panty night. You get a lot of money for fighting Conor, but again, you haven't got past the fighter that you fight up next, and is no slouch. I understand if it was Bryce Mitchell that you're fighting next, and we've seen what has happened to him. But you're fighting Volkanovski, arguably one of the best pound-for-pound fighters. Not even arguably. He is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. He's not number one, but he's definitely top 10, top 5. Focus on what you got in front of you first before you take it a step further. And Volkanovski is dangerous. Again, I'm picking Topuria to win, but it's tough. I wouldn't go as far as to look past Volkanovski at the moment. Beta Quest in the building, in the chat. Welcome to the stream, sir. He says, the theatrics are great until you got to fight. Not everyone is Muhammad Ali. Not everyone is McNugget. Buddy is not cracking the top 8. Does Beta Quest have a point that Moicano is not cracking the top 8? Let's look at the names quickly here. Moicano's a prospect killer. I'm so tired of the loudmouth gimmick. Buddy did all that hollering after winning a huggist against a striker. I'm at work, so I can't call. All you'll hear is Saul's. All good, all good. Appreciate you for coming through. Hope you're having a good day at work, man. Thank you for always coming through and hanging out with the chat. Top 8. Does he crack top 8? I mean, at the very bottom of the top 8 of the lightweight division is Fiziev. I think Fiziev will be like a minus, 225, 250 against a Moicano. Does he beat Dariush? Dariush chin, again, might be compromised. Maybe that's a way for him to crack the top 8. There's Gamrot. Yeah, this division is arguably one of the scariest divisions in the UFC right now. I mean, what division might be tougher? I think 135 is still a little bit tough with Marab and Corey Sandhagen and even Piotr Jan hanging around as well too. Henry might be over the hill a bit. The 145 division is gaining some momentum as well too. You got Evloev, you got Diego Lopez climbing up the ranks, and then you got Volkanovski holds the title in Topuria. Crazy stacked division as well too. Middleweight, I don't know. That's a tough one to call right now, so that's tough to say. But yeah, I would say the lightweight division, welterweight has some good competition, but I would say the lightweight division is one of the toughest to climb up the ranks. Now, as far as making a name for himself, we got to give him credit. He stole the show in this past event at UFC Fight Night, where he had a post-fight interview. I want to be careful on, I'm not going to play his moments, but we could talk about, he talked about his 62-year-old dad having a kid. He talked about politics and how he wants to join the SWAT team so he could kill the bad guys. And I saw a couple comments like, hey, the SWAT team doesn't kill the bad guys. That's not what they essentially do. But nonetheless, he talked about politics, repopulating the world. He even called out MMA Guru, which I thought was hilarious. It was kind of refreshing to see where it wasn't the Ariel Helwanis that was mentioned, the Luke Thomas. Nowadays, you grow a big enough channel or you're a big enough name like a Guru, and you get mentioned by maybe fighters. Maybe that's the new way for fighters to gain recognition with the fans and vice versa, because that was pretty interesting. Called him a fat pig as well, which was funny. But Moicano nonetheless made noise. And if you type in quickly, look, which I did earlier, but if you type in UFC, right, you go to news. Let's see if it's still the same way. Yeah, it's all Moicano. He wasn't even the main event, but it's Moicano at the top of the headlines for 235. It wasn't Imavov, who is also climbing up the ranks in the middleweight division. So you have him stealing the show essentially for UFC 235. There's a couple other newsworthy headlines, but yeah, you got Roman Dolidze versus Imavov. A lot of controversy there. You have Molly McCann winning as well too. I think she was desperate for a win and she got it done. But essentially, at the top of it is Moicano. So I decided to make a poll. It's pretty recent, so we'll see how it changes. But I decided to make a poll, and it has 173 votes only an hour ago, so maybe a little bit more now. Let me see. 182 votes about an hour ago, and it was titled, "Who's the best behind the mic?" And this is a debate that we could have as well too. But who's the best behind the mic? Is it Moicano? Is it Strickland? Is it Colby? Is it Paddy Pimblett? A whopping 73% of voters still believe that Sean Strickland is the best behind the mic. And I was a little bit surprised to see who came in second. I thought it would be Paddy. I thought it might have even been Moicano, but it is Colby Covington. Even though he has got a lot of hate in his last fight for what he said about Leon's dad, for losing and putting a lackluster performance, he's still at second place, 15%. Moicano is in dead last. So although he was entertaining, maybe the fighting style that he had, perhaps the as boring as it was as far as the fight itself, maybe is why they put him at a 5%. Let me increase this a bit. But Thomas, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. How you doing today, bro? Beta says that's all cool for the story. The WWE effect is great. Come back a better fighter because those guys on the top are fighters, not personality. Yeah, I mean, he stole the show. He's getting headlines. But again, let me be quite honest. I think Strickland has a better chance to maybe get the title back, and I'm not even that hopeful on that, than I have Moicano sneaking past the top 8. Now, if you're the UFC, I guess the conversation or the question is, what do you do with Moicano? Because I think it's pretty clear. You have something there as far as people gravitate towards him. He did all the smart things. We got to give him credit. After the fight, he calls out Guru. He talks about repopulating the world. He talks about joining the SWAT team. He also goes live on YouTube and talks to the fans. He's in the ambulance. They're stitching him up, and he goes live. I wanted to more talk about as a conversation on, is this where the future is heading? Nowadays, you can't simply be a fighter. Your skill set in the octagon, no matter how good you are, doesn't pay the bills. I think that's fair to say. I believe nowadays the Moicanos, the Strickland, the Colby Covington, Patty Pimblets, the Sean O'Malley's, at the end of the day, you can't just rely on your fighting skills. And Moicano has taken over the headlines. Sean Strickland as well too, Colby, Patty, because they have that it factor as far as being a personality. And I know MMA purists want it to be where your skills should be enough to be at the top of the game to get title shots. But look how quickly Strickland was fast-tracked. Strickland lost to Cannonier, beats Abus, and he gets a title shot soon after that. I mean, he didn't necessarily deserve the title shot. Shouldn't it have been Cannonier? Absolutely. Cannonier was hurt around the same time as well, too. So there's speculation on whether that has something to do with it. But at the end of the day, if you want to make it right now in the UFC, it's not only the fight business. If anything, even more so, it's the entertainment business. And you have to be able to sell yourself as a product, sell yourself as a brand in order to gain the recognition of the UFC. And can we make an example thinking out loud? Look at other fighters, I guess, in the rankings that deserve maybe a shot and haven't got it yet. Look at what happened to Beneil Dariush. He fights Charles Oliveira. He loses, doesn't get the title shot, and he probably should have got it 6 fights ago, 7 fights ago, 8 fights ago. Look at the welterweight division. Bilal Muhammad is another good one, good example. He should have got maybe the title shot quite long ago. Even Leon Edwards, before he fought Usman, he deserved it pretty early on. Then you have someone like Pereira, who maybe not necessarily is the best behind the mic, but he's a character, a figure, has a storyline, had the beef with Adesanya. That fast-tracked him to the title. It was, 4 fights in the UFC before fighting for the title? Now he even got a championship belt in another division. Is part of the game. 267-545-8096. And the question and the topic is, do you have to do more than just fight well in order to climb up the ranks in the UFC? My argument would be 100% absolutely, no question. It's a yes. You have to be able to build up your name in order to fight. And the examples of people that haven't been able to do so and why they haven't fought for the title are evident. Beneil Dariush, Bilal Muhammad, the list goes on. Even Merab. Merab deserves a title shot. Now that Sterling doesn't have the title, he doesn't get a shot at the title yet. And I don't even think it's clear on whether he gets a title shot in 2024 or anytime soon. Thomas in the building. Beta says that's all cool for the story. He also says Strickland had great on the mic. Where's that belt though? First title defense he loses. Although it was a close split decision where we got to cover on Twitch, Beta. So I didn't forget about that. This week, if it doesn't happen, I'm a fraud. We have to do the Strickland versus Drickus rewatch on Twitch. That has to be done because we have to talk about whether Strickland really won. I had Drickus on first watch winnings round 2, 3, and 4, but nonetheless, we got to cover it. Miller DC Clips, that's another channel that's popping off on YouTube as well too. You guys got to go check that out. Not even joking. It's our Clips channel that Hito's taking over, and he's helping grow, which is great. 267-545-8096 if you want to discuss whether your skills alone should get you to the top of the promotion, the UFC, or if you have to do both, both. You have to be a marketable brand, so to speak, and whether that's fair to say. Now, I don't know why this is not coming up. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. That fixed it. Chris Fave says Moicano is a slick head for, don't want to get taken off of here. Moicano is a slick head who ducked Arman Saryukian last year. And nonetheless, Moicano still gets the win. And now Chris Fave, question to you. Who does he beat that's above him? Does he beat anybody in the top 8? If I had to gamble, if my life was on the line and I had to pick someone out of the top 8 for Moicano to fight, to beat, first of all, I'm terrified. And you see the clips in the chat. Let's go. I will be terrified. But nonetheless, if I had to pick someone in the top 8 that I had to match Moicano up with, that's my best chance at getting the title or at winning for my survival to be there. I think, damn, what a fall from grace, man. I think it would have to be, personally, I would pick this man right here. Only because the way he has lost his last 2 fights. That's the only reason. And maybe I talked blasphemously because I had this man, as crazy as it sounds, I had him beating Oliveira. I had him as being, again, this sounds silly of me, but I have to admit it. I had this man being the only problem for Islam Makhachev. That was before he fought Oliveira. And what a fall from grace that he has had. Now, I don't want to diverge too much, but he's lost his last 2. He's lost to Oliveira. He's lost to Saryukian. Is his champion aspirations, is that over? Is there any way for Benio to come back? I mean, his last 2 fights, man, when he was on an incredible win streak, his last 2 fights are 2 first-round exits, knockouts, that he suffers against Oliveira and Saryukian. Granted, some of the most dangerous fighters in the UFC. Some people feel that Saryukian has a legit chance to beat Islam Makhachev. I still pick Islam to win. I'm not that confident. But Benio has taken a fall from grace. Moving on, you can share your thoughts on that as well too. Moving on just a bit, there was a video posted, and I'm gonna put this in my next video that will come out maybe like around 3:30, 4 p.m. today. But Israel Adesanya training some grappling. People were speculating whether it's gonna be him and Hamzat next. What does Hamzat do? He put some laughing emojis in the comments. If this is the fight that they make next for UFC 300 or for the next fight for Hamzat and Israel Adesanya, who would you guys pick to win this fight? I think it's a pretty clear answer for me. And I would maybe perhaps even bet the house on this. I think Adesanya wins that fight easily.
I don't mean no disrespect on Henry, but
now, does his grappling look amazing? Does he look incredible here? Maybe not. But I simply betted on this. Hamzat is not the same at 185, and we discussed this at length last week. We'll discuss it some more maybe tonight with Trey Melton. But I think it will be a disservice to Hamzat Chimaev if you quickly give him someone like Adesanya. He's not proven at 185, and you give him a former champ. That's not what you want to do. I would encourage the UFC to not do that. Now, if we were to match up Hamzat with anybody else right now why are you deleting the clips channel? Let me see. I forgot I was on there. What do you mean? I'm confused. Why do you say that, Hito? And what do you mean you forgot you was on there? As far as the clip, he needs to fight guys like Dan Hooker first, and if he wins, then Beneil Dariush. Dan Hooker, I think, is probably the best one. If not Patty Pimblett, just for entertainment value. But if you want to climb up the ranks, you go Dan Hooker. But I agree. A Dan Hooker fight is probably recipe for not only a good fight, a good back and forth, and it'll sell well. I'm not mad at that. Now, as far as Khamzat Chimaev and what you do with him next, and the rumblings that we have had as of recent, let's quickly look at the middleweight rankings. Oh, because you said Izzy was gonna win? Izzy wins, bro. I feel extremely confident about Izzy beating Khamzat Chimaev. I'm not even joking. I mean that hand on Bible. I truly do mean that. But I would think it's a little dangerous if you give Khamzat to Israel Adesanya. So if you have to work your way up, looking at the name of Khamzat Chimaev, let me quickly increase the size on this screen so you guys can see better. Perhaps you have Khamzat right here at number 9. There's names like Dolidze, Brendan Allen, Paulo Costa, Vettori, Cannonier, Whitaker, Adesanya, Strickland. Don't give him Adesanya. You're gonna ruin the hype. Wait to ruin the comedic timing. I'm sorry. I apologize. Still working on this. Khamzat. What do you do with Khamzat next? Dolidze looked horrible in the last fight against Imavov, but I don't think that's exciting for the fans. You got to give Khamzat someone that's exciting for one, and maybe not that skilled number 2 to not kill the hype. You want to give him a winnable fight, a fight that you would bet on him to win. I wouldn't bet on him to beat Adesanya. I wouldn't bet on him to beat Whitaker. I wouldn't even bet on him to beat Strickland, but that is a massive fight that you might want to take the risk. A Khamzat versus Strickland fight is huge. Nonetheless, if we had to matchmake for Khamzat, who would I give him next? Paulo Costa is a good one too. Paulo Costa is supposed to be fighting at UFC 298 versus Whitaker. We'll talk about that in a bit as well too. Anyone excited for Benoit? Benoit versus DSP? BSP versus Benoit. Benoit versus Dustin Poirier. I'm excited to see him fight. I'm excited to see them both fight. It's a great test for Benoit because he's going from number 11 to fighting number 3. You've seen how excited certain MMA figures or personalities like Joe Rogan and John Anik are of Benoit. He's fighting Dustin Poirier next, and they got the negotiations cleared. Poirier coming off a knockout loss versus Gaethje, but he did beat Michael Chandler as well too. Remember Michael Chandler getting fish hooks and all that? He was a little bit pissed about that, but I'm excited about that one. Archibald, welcome to the stream. I'm excited about that one as well too. But for Khamzat Chimaev, I would like to see him fight Paulo Costa, even though he has a fight lined up. But there are also speculations and rumors about Paulo Costa as well too. Paulo Costa, in a recent tweet, he writes, "I went to the pizzeria to buy my dinner, and while waiting for the pizza, I drank 4 beers, smoked a cigarette, and picked up the phone from a fat lady." He is an interesting figure. He's always joking online. But just look at the record of Paulo Costa. Since 2021. Early 2021. After that Adesanya fight, you have 2 canceled bouts. Whitaker, Cannonier. You lose to Vettori. You have a canceled bout with Rockhold. You finally get it done. You win against Rockhold. Rockhold over the hill. I wasn't too impressed about that fight. Then you have a canceled bout against Aliskerov and Chimaev. Is he even going to show up against Robert Whitaker at UFC 298, which is about, 10 days from now? A little over 10 days? Would we even gamble that he's going to show up? I don't know if I would.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your
And it's not to talk crap on Paulo Costa, but it's just dangerous. The guy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 canceled fights since 2021. And what worries me about Robert Whitaker as well too is that knockout loss against Dricus. Whether his chin is the same. What if we get one of those back-to-back? Look at what happened to Beneil. Lost to Saryukin, lost to Oliveira back-to-back. What if What if Robert Whitaker's chin is a bit gone as well too, and Costa catches him? Costa hasn't been known for being the biggest power puncher in the UFC, so I wouldn't necessarily be too worried about Whitaker getting finished in dramatic fashion. But I don't know if I would bet that that Paulo Costa shows up. So we'll see what happens. The middleweight division is in a bit of an interesting place, to say the least, since we have Whitaker fighting Paulo Costa. You have Hamza on the shelf. You have Adesanya on the shelf. We'll see. And we spoke about who Chimaev should fight next. As far as Adesanya, in my opinion, I think the clear-cut fight to make, you make Dricus versus Adesanya in Africa. Maybe postpone it. You're not going to get Dricus for, apologize for the noise. You're not going to get Dricus for UFC 300. I think you put that on the shelf. If anything, I wanted to see Sean Strickland versus Hamza at UFC 300. I think Strickland's going to be ready. Hamza, you saw the health issues that he has had before as well, and as a recent as well too. So I wouldn't be against seeing something like that. 267-545-8096. If you want to share your thoughts on what you see or what you want to see happen next for all these fighters. Now, going back real quick, let me pull it up. Going back to Moicano, it was an interesting discussion, and even then, you see that he posted a video 2,800 views just an hour ago, speaking that Paddy Pimblett is not serious. I haven't even watched it, so maybe we could react to this live. I'm a little bit scared to do so because of the copyright issue. So let's see. I haven't watched this. This is live. It was posted an hour ago. I kind of want to see what he has to say. My thoughts on the fight versus Dober. I don't want to see that. Paddy Pimblett called me out. Let's just see if we could sneak in a bit what Moicano had to say. A little bit worried again because of copyright strikes, and the YouTube is on top of that when you're live streaming playing someone else's video. Let's see if we could sneak a bit on what he had to say. Let me unmute this real quick and let's get right to it. See what he says.
That is a fight that I want to see, Paddy Pimblett like to act tough and stuff. Let's see how he does against
I hate that he has the music so loud in the background during his video, but
Drew Dober. I say it. But then today I was on my Instagram and I saw a message.
damn, that eye is pretty badly hurt as well too. I think he got 7 stitches on his right eye, a little bit of a bruise. People were a little bit upset with him as well too, as far as although he was great in the post-fight interview, the fight was a bit boring.
Message request from Paddy Pimblett, and he's saying,
"Oh, breaking news! He got a message request.
Why should I fight Drew Dober if I can?
I guess it wasn't a direct a DM. That would have been fine.
Much easier. And I say, okay, let's make that fight. I want to fight Dariush. I want to fight people above me on the.
He does want to fight people above him, which is quite interesting. And we were talking about a bit ago what fights are winnable for Moicano that's above him in the lightweight division. Maybe he's calling the right names out, Beneil Dariush, or maybe below him, Paddy Pimblett. I don't think he beats anybody else. Let's see if he mentions anyone above him still.
The rankings, but guess what? If you guys want to give me free money, like
if you guys want to give me free money, I don't think Paddy's that good. I don't know if Moicano, that might be a winnable fight for Paddy as well. So let's see. Let's quickly make a poll in the chat real quick. That's a no-brainer poll. Who would win? Who would win in a lightweight bout? I think this is the way to go. Hold on a second. Renato Moicano. We even got to put the monikers in the or Paddy. That's such a Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Let's quickly make a poll real quick. I would love to hear what you guys, who would win. Maybe that's a video to make too. Because now that I think about it, I'm not big on Paddy. Again, I'm one of the biggest disbelievers or unbelievers of Paddy Pimblett. Non-believers. I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but I'm not big on Moicano either. Hollywood Hito says the fans win. That might be the best way to put it. Hito, let me know if I'm tripping trying to play this video or and watching it live. I think we'll be okay though.
like Paddy Pimblett, sign me in. I fight him any day of the week, you know.
And he calls it free money, which I respect.
No, if you see in this message, just send the contract to Paddy Pimblett.
We gotta make a video on this part right here. 452 of the video. Maybe we make this up. If you see this message, let's make it happen. Interesting. So you hear the call out. Maybe this is a fight to make next.
Ask for the UFC for the fight. Let's fight in Brazil. What do you think?
Now Brazil would be crazy. Imagine Paddy in Brazil and Moicano. Damn, that press conference would be absolutely insane. That press conference would be gold if we were able to watch that. I think you good. Okay, good.
Think is that good enough to you, or you just fight in England for your fans, or you just choose fights like Tony Ferguson?
Oh, now he's talking his trash. Now he's saying, listen, let's fight me in Brazil, or do you only fight in England? Do you only fight guys like Tony Ferguson, basically guys that are over the hill? This is a good way to approach. Again, he's making the right moves, in my opinion. He's calling out the right fighters. He's talking trash outside of the octagon on YouTube on his own channel, and he's calling out fighters like Paddy Pimblett. He's keeping his name relevant.
Or you want to fight Bobby Green or Jim Miller, or you want to take a real challenge, my brother. If you want to take a real challenge, let's fight in Rio de Janeiro. Okay.
The call out is I respect it. Smart move again by Moicano.
Okay.
Live reaction, ladies and gentlemen.
UFC Brazil, that's the fight to make. Money Moicano and Paddy Pimblett. I'm not against that, you know. But if Paddy Pimblett want to play games and don't want a real competition, that's okay too.
Basically saying I'll move on if that's not the fight that I get next. If Paddy's a little bit scared, I like the call out. 267-545-8096. If you want to talk about whether you would want to see that fight next, I respect it. Let's see what else he had to say.
We'll fight Benil Dariush, Dan Hooker, somebody, and I will keep.
He mentions Dariush. He mentions Dan Hooker. I didn't even again. This video came out an hour ago. Is Moicano, don't mean to judge him a little bit too much, but let's talk about it. Is Moicano being smart on who he's calling out? Because he's not calling out the names that I don't think that I think he doesn't beat. He's not calling out Saryuki and Oliveira unless he's being humble and saying I don't deserve that yet. But he's calling out the fights. He's calling out the fights that I think he has a chance in. Is it because he doesn't believe he has a chance against Jalen Turner?
Climb the rank.
Yeah, let me finish this. There's only 2 minutes left.
Of
and
course.
I'll open up the phone lines.
If Paddy Pimblett wants to fight, I will. You know, because I will be honest with you, he's a big name. He has a huge amount.
Respect. Listen, again, I was talking about this in my last video. That's the good thing that Moicano's doing. He's being humble at the same time as well, too. He's saying, listen, Paddy's a bigger name than me. I respect that because some people won't even be that honest. He understands the fight business.
Amount of followers, and that's not gonna hurt my channel. That's gonna help my channel. That's gonna help me and popularity. I think we can sell the fight
I think he's right.
Pretty easy, okay? So I'm gonna stop here. If you want to fight, just send me the contract. I signed today, brother.
Sounds like Khabib. Just send the contract. Send the location.
I got 30 days in suspension, and I don't need even training for the fight. If the fight is 30 days, I will just...
And going back to our UFC 300 talk, if you only need 30 days, this is what, February 5th, February 6th? That might be... Listen, they could potentially make it for UFC 300, and that's what I would prefer. I would like to see this fight on UFC 300 instead of any other time. Miami Moicano, Money Moicano. He might have a new moniker. I gave him that one for free.
Just be home, make the way.
Miami Moicano.
And I fight you. That's my positioning of the fight. If you want to take the fight, you take it. If you're not, you. Okay? That being said, I'm gonna talk a little bit.
And then he's going to talk about his channel, so we're not going to watch that live. Phone lines are open for anybody that wants to talk about Moicano versus Pimblett. You guys let me know how you guys feel about that. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind that at all, personally. I wouldn't mind that at all. I don't know who I would pick to win. 267-545-8096. I don't know who I would pick to win, but I like the idea. Two rising stars. Paddy's not in the top 15, so it's a win-win. it's a win-win because if Patty wins, now he finds himself in the top 15. It's a no-brainer. I almost think that picking any other fight for either fighter would be fumbling the bag for the UFC. I think that's the way to go. Why not? Moicano versus Patty. Patty wins. He goes in the top 15 of the rankings. Moicano wins. You just elevate his name a bit more. We do have a caller. Let's pick up.
Call from.
Yo, welcome to the stream.
What's up?
What's cracking?
So, I love the fight with Patty and Moicano. I don't really know like who would win. I mean, I think it'd be a lot closer. I don't think there's really nobody like how this person's gonna like win by a landslide. I think it'll be closer. Both of them have good ground games. Both of them kind of strike. Well, I think Patty's got better striking, but and maybe Moicano has a little bit better of a ground game. So I think it'd be an interesting fight. But I liked how Moicano is kind of giving a blueprint of like he's saying things out loud like this guy's more popular. This is good for my channel. This is good for my brand. And we talked about this offline, but like these fighters need to understand they're independent contractors, so they're their own business. Name one business that's successful that doesn't market their business. You know what I mean? Being a good product doesn't only get you so far if you can't market yourself properly. So I really like what he's doing. And I honestly, like, you know, both of them can win and it'll be just as good for the UFC. I mean, one's going to lose and it will hurt their, you know, their momentum for sure. But I think that'd be a great fight to add in the 300, if anything, or Miami. Miami sounds pretty good too.
It might not even hurt their credibility that much if it's a close fight as well too. So I don't think either fighter loses a lot if they lose that fight if it's close, right? Now if Patty gets knocked out cold, then you know he'll always be labeled a hype job. If Moicano gets knocked out cold, I mean he still is good behind the mic. Patty sneaks up to the top 15, and I think he'll be able to bounce back as well too. So I mean,
I think if anything, Patty has more to lose than Moicano. Because I think you know, like I said, there's a lot riding on Patty moving up. Moicano's already had losses and bounced back, so it's like, you know, if he can kind of get in that little Kevin Holland field for a bit and then see if he can win against some, you know, solid fighters and then work his way back up in the rankings. Where Patty, everybody's waiting to see him fail. He hasn't had that L yet, so everybody's like thriving to see him lose because you guys are a bunch of haters. And it will affect him way more than it would Moicano because Moicano has already lost before.
No, that undefeated record, I guess it would worry. But I guess my question to you is also as well too. I can't think of a better name to give Patty. At least that's a winnable fight in the top 15. So at this point, this is probably the best time to take that risk if you're trying to build a Patty to give him someone in the top 15. Give him Moicano, unless you like Drew Dober instead, Bobby Green. But I think maybe even the most winnable fight for Patty is Moicano.
I think he beats Dober. Are you talking about winnable? He beats Dober for sure.
I don't know. I don't know if he beats Dober, man. I think stylistically that might be a tough matchup for Patty. And the striking of Dober is very dangerous as well too, because Dober got power.
I mean, he's got power, but I mean, do you think Moicano has a better chin than Patty?
I think Dober does a decent job, a better job defending against Patty's takedown than against Moicano, and he might sparkle. Again, it's a winnable fight as well too. I just think the Moicano fight is the best option available. Do you think that's the best option available, or would you pick someone else?
I wouldn't mind him. I mean, like, if we're talking, I can see him. I like Moicano better, but like
Agreed.
I like him against Dan Hooker too.
For Patty or for Moicano?
Patty.
Wow, Patty versus Hooker would be crazy. Damn, he has options as well too. But okay,
Patty has options, but Moicano sells more than Hooker.
Let me ask you this: do you think it's a safer fight as well too?
For Moicano?
No, for Patty.
Yeah, I think they're relatively pretty close. You know what I mean? Like, so right. I think I don't think Patty wins by a landslide if he does win.
Yeah, I like the Moicano. I think Dan Hooker, his striking is dangerous for Patty. I truly do believe that. I think Moicano's the way to go, man. And imagine the press conference for that fight between Moicano and Patty. Now for 300, that'll be the most ideal if they could add it. He's only has a 30-day suspension.
Yeah, 300 would be crazy, man. Like 300 is a good card. I just need my main event. I'm getting tired of this. But if they could add that on there, man, like it's so worth the money. Like the card's pretty solid besides the 3 women fighters, but other than that, solid card.
I think it'll be a great addition, man. I would like to see that fight over anything for both fighters. Is there anything else you want to say about Moicano or anything else you want to share?
Just stop slandering Kamzat, sorry.
You don't even know his name. That's how much he sucks.
Shut up. And follow the Clips channel. We got heat on there. New video up right now.
Right. Oh yeah. Let me clip that channel in a bit. Good looks, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you for the call, Hollywood Hito. See you, bro. I'll spam that a bit. That's the Clips channel. Make sure you guys go follow that. We're trying to blow that up as well too because it's going well. We have a Clips channel. We got the daily news almost happening. Things are progressing for the YouTube channel as well too as we inch away at 10,000 subscribers. So thank you guys for the ongoing support. Moicano, Patty Pimblett. I think that's the no-brainer fight to make. I can't think of a better one. If you guys could, you guys let me know, 267-545-8096. But I truly can't think of a better fight than to make those two and match those two up. It's just a perfect way to get Patty to sneak into the top 15. You know that's what the UFC wants. It will benefit them if he were able to sneak into the top 15. And what better way than to match him with a Moicano, because that's also probably the best winnable fight in my honest opinion. I can't think of anything better at the very moment. We also have in the near future as well too. We have Pyfer fighting this weekend against Jack Hermanson, which is a good step up in competition. And then we have UFC 298. Plug says Patty will lose. Do I agree with you? I'm thinking out loud, but I don't know who I would pick between Moicano and Patty right now. Damn, this is a tough one. Gun to my head, Patty Pimblett, Moicano. I feel like Moicano's a little bit more scrappy, man. Moicano has also fought bigger names, of course, where Patty's not necessarily proven. He beat Dober and Riddell. He beat Jai Herbert as well too. He lost to RDA, but that was a 5-round decision as well too. I guess it would also depend, is it a 3-round fight or if it's a 5-round fight. I think if it's a 5-round fight, of course, I think that would benefit Moicano more than that would benefit Patty. But I think I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think I will go Moicano in even a 3-round fight, but even more so in a 5-round fight for that fight. I hope it gets made for UFC 300, but damn. Moicano versus Patty, who wins now? You guys voted in the chat. It's pretty close. Most of you guys actually voted for Patty over Moicano in a fight. I should have put in a 5-round war, right? So just to kind of see how you guys feel about that. But follow the Clip channel as well too. I would agree. 267-545-8096. Moicano versus Pimblett. Who wins? I guess that's a hot topic of discussion today. I would pick Moicano, man. I would pick Moicano. And again, he's taking over the headlines. You type in UFC breaking news or most recent news, Moicano is in the top of the discussion. We've been live for about 45 minutes. We'll be live for about 15 minutes more. 267-545-8096. Who wins between Patty Pimblett and Money Moicano? Let's see what other news we have as well too. Elite Taporia predicts first round KO of Alexander Volkanovski. This guy just doesn't stop saying first round finishes for himself. Let's see what he had to let's quickly read live what he had to say and whether we agree or respect him. Again, I picked Taporia to beat Alexander Volkanovski. I'm a little bit worried, because he's talking about Conor McGregor instead of Volkanovski. But we see here in this article, he's also mentioning Volkanovski. Let's see what he had to say. I see myself finishing him in the first round. by knockout. Topuria told UFC Espanol, it's most likely going to be a knockout unless he dives for my legs. I'm going to put his lights out. I'm part of the new generation of MMA. Okay, here we go. Here we get some spicy comments. I bring an evolved style in all areas of the sport. On the feet, in the wrestling, in the grappling. That's one thing I will say. Topuria is well-rounded. And his skill set makes me a little bit confident. Plug says, Jack Hermanson is a bum. Why they letting him headline? They want to build up Piper. So that's the way to do it. You beat Jack Hermanson and you kind of show yourself to be worthy. I don't think Hermanson is a bum necessarily, though. Was it the Chris Curtis fight that I was impressed with, even though he didn't look that great since? Let me see real quick. Let me see something real quick. It was the Chris Curtis fight that he won, but then he loses in the second round by knockout. Yes, to Dolice. But I wouldn't say Hermanson is a bum. He did get knocked out to Dolice. That didn't look that great in his previous fight. So there's that as well, too. So it's tough to say. Beta says, I have so much I disagree with, but I'm a different department today, so I don't have desk time to respond to these wild claims. Just let me know what was wild so I could have that in the back of my head. Maybe we could discuss later tonight. What was wild? I would love to know exactly. Patty versus Moicano is not the next fight to make. Maybe that. Or that Moicano beats Patty. Damn, what was it, Beta? Would love to know. So Topuria says, yes, I'm part of a new generation of MMA. I bring an evolved style in all areas of the sport. I consider myself a far more complete and effective finisher than Volkanovski. I don't know about complete fighter, but maybe finisher, perhaps. The experience is on his side. Absolutely. Well, there's some honesty and not some gloating from Topuria finally. The experience is on his side, but the young blood is on my side. That's true. Topuria is a younger fighter. This is my moment. God's timing is perfect, and he's prepared for me this moment. Finally, some words that I could agree with as far as with Topuria, because when he was talking about Conor McGregor, I was just like, man, stop doing that. There won't be any failure. Topuria is a little less than 2 weeks, man. This is a massive. I can't wait. A little less than 2 weeks, man. Topuria Volkanovski. That's a good one. I'm not going to say it's been the toughest camp because every camp we do is always hard. But I would say it's been the most professional camp I've ever done, says Topuria. We've done a deep analysis on my opponent, and we're prepared for the fight. There's only one more event before that, and that is the Piper and Hermanson. And then we have Volkanovski, Topuria. Now, the co-main is Whitaker and Costa. That's as good as saying we don't have a co-main, because we don't know if Costa's going to show up. I'll speak for Beta. Go Patty the Baddie. Oh, shoot. I didn't know you was fighting Piper. Piper via finish. Listen. Piper might be the future. I think he resides not too far from here as well, too. I wonder what Beta has to disagree with so vehemently against as a reason. But yes, I'm not saying Moicano is the future, but I am saying that he beats Patty the Baddie Pimblett. Damn, we have, real quick, just to talk about it a bit. We have Volkanovski, the next pay-per-view event less than 2 weeks away. We have Volkanovski versus Topuria. We have Whitaker versus Costa. But hold on a second, guys. The upset of the night. Well, people aren't talking about enough. Ian Gary, Jeff Neal. Is it safe to say that Jeff Neal upsets Ian Gary?
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point.
We have to discuss this. We have to discuss this, and we have to talk about whether Jeff Neal beats Ian Gary. What are the early odds for that? I know we looked it up prior, but what are the early odds? Gary is a minus 225. Guys, listen, this is not professional advice. You know when you talk about medical issues and you say, I'm not a doctor, this is not medical advice, go consult a professional. Granted, we have the best picks online and on YouTube. But with these odds, a plus 185, I'm not saying I'm betting the house on Jeff Neal, but I might bet the porch. I might bet the vehicle. I might bet something, my PC that I make content on. Jeff Neal's a plus 185, guys. I think he upsets him. Let's see if any what other odds checker between 24 countries. Let's see what we have here. Jeff Neal 2-1. Wow. Listen, guys. Listen, guys. Hold on a second. Let's just pump the brakes a bit. This is a horrible website that didn't work. Early odds. Can we get a better link? Yeah. Jeff Neal's a plus 186, 188, so pretty accurate. Minus 245, minus 240. Gary might be a cuck, but he's not. He has solid hands. I thought Jeff Neal, granted, Shavkat didn't fight the smartest fight. I think he looked quite well against him. And he's adorable fighter. Speaking of Jeff Neal, southpaw stance, that reach and the timing he might struggle with a bit. But at plus 185, plus 188 money, I'm going to dwell on that a bit, guys. I'm going to dwell on that a bit because I'm not mad at it. Costa will beat Rob. Stop it, plug. Stop it. Listen. I think I'm starting to realize, plugs and chat. Plugs might be the man at breaking news. I think Plugs might be the man at breaking news. But when it comes to picking fights, look, they're making fun of Costa. He might not even show up. We can't even be certain that he shows up. It might be a minus 225 that you could gamble that Costa doesn't show up. I'm telling you, man, like I don't know. The guy has had like 5 or 6 canceled fights since 2021. That's all I'm saying. Thank you guys for another fun stream. We had a good time. 267-545-8096 if you want to share your thoughts on who wins between Moicano and Pimblett. And I'll play that on tonight's stream. We're going to have a live stream with Trey Melton, and we'll have a back and forth. We'll accept some callers on Discord. Thank you for another show. Plugs has the worst prediction, so maybe bet the house on Jeff Neal. Moicano making all the right decisions. Is he one of the next rising stars in the UFC? You guys let me know in the comments. One more thing that I truly messed up at, and that is go to, and we're coming out with another video in a matter of minutes, probably like in 30 minutes. But I know Plugs already saw this video, but go check that video out. Leave me a salute so I know you watched. All Rob does is throw 1 and 2 and head kicks. What does Costa do better than him? Costa doesn't have the power, I think, to shut down Whitaker. So I'm going to go Whitaker by decision. If the fight even happens, Plugs. We'll see. You've bet against me a lot lately, and that hasn't gone well for you. That's all I'm saying. I'll catch you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, guys. Be there.